Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you've never been here before, my name is Gabby and welcome. If you have no idea what I do here on my channel, never watched any of my videos, have no idea who I am, here on my channel I cover true crime cases, and all of the cases that I cover are more on the vintage side. They're all basically 20 years or older, so if that's something you might be interested in, maybe go down below, hit that subscribe button, and stay a while. As my subscribers already know if they've seen the last two videos on my channel, the month of December I have a theme, and the theme for this month is December. So all of this month I'm going to be covering John and Jane Doe cases. Today we're going to be discussing the case of a John Doe, and this is a John Doe that I had read a little bit about this person's case before he was identified, and then when he was identified this year, I had a little bit of a freak out moment because I was very excited. If you are somebody who researches into John and Jane Doe cases, when they are finally identified and they put up a picture of what they actually looked like while they were alive, and you get to read a little bit about their story, it's very surreal. It's a moment. So with all that being said, let's get right into the case. This is the case of Barron County John Doe, better known as Kraig Patrick King. Western Wisconsin, near Highway 25, about 4 miles outside the village of Ridgeland, Barron County to be exact. Barron County, Wisconsin is an area where most people spend their time outdoors. It's a historical area that has rolling hills, locations for camping, and locations for fishing. It's an area home to people who spend their weekends at gift shops or breweries. It's not home to too many tragedies, but it's exactly where this one starts off. During the afternoon of Tuesday, September 21st, 1982, some loggers were in the woods on private land when they spotted a pile of clothes. They were confused as to why a pile of clothes would be just laying in the woods, so they got a closer look. Upon further inspecting the pile, they soon realized that the clothes contained badly decomposing human remains inside of them. About 3 feet from the pile of clothing and skeletal remains lay the skull and lower jaw. Just this year, when questioned by WEAU 13 News, Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald said, "Back in 1982, we received a call from some loggers that had found what they thought to be a pile of clothes that were in an odd spot. Ultimately, when our deputies went out there in 1982, they found a decomposed body." There was no form of identification anywhere near the remains. They didn't know who this person was, so he was immediately classified as a John Doe. They conducted an autopsy as soon as possible. The autopsy report came back and it stated that the unknown body was a white male, possibly between the ages of 18 to 24, weighing between 180 and 195 pounds. And was most likely between 5 feet 8 inches tall and 5 feet 9 inches tall. The man had brown hair and might have had more of a husky build to him. They estimated that he most likely died 5 to 6 months before his body was located, putting his death somewhere in either April or May of that year. As for his death, it was immediately ruled a homicide, and the cause was 3 puncture wounds to the area of the chest with a sharp object. These cuts were so deep that they actually left marks on the victim's thoracic vertebrae. Cut marks on his shirt and jacket corresponded with these cut marks. He was wearing blue denim jeans that were a size 38, a long-sleeve Western-style plaid shirt with pearl buttons, a lined denim jacket, and blue tennis shoes with white stripes that were a size 10. No glasses were found at the area, but they jotted down that he may have been a wearer of them. When it came to this unidentified man, there were a lot of physical characteristics about him that made it seem to authorities that it would be a lot easier to identify him than it would turn out to be. During the autopsy, they found a screw and staple installed in his left tibia. He had to have had a very intense knee surgery at some time in his life. This wouldn't have been an easy procedure that landed him in a simple overnight stay at the hospital. This would have required work by a doctor specialized in that sort of surgery and a lengthy stay at the hospital. Also, let's not forget the recovery time, which would have been about 6 months to a year. They found that the screw and staple were in fact numbered. They had hoped that this would help lead to an identity, but they had no way to trace where the two products were from. Like I've discussed before in videos, the teeth can tell a lot about a person. This man had very extensive and very recent dental work done. He did have a full set of teeth, and his front teeth were a bit pushed together. This John Doe, because he was found in Barron County, he was given the name Barron County John Doe. Like I stated before, he was found in September, and they did think that his life was taken about 5 to 6 months before. But some did think that possibly his life was taken during the winter or fall of the year before, and that his body was there through the winter, froze, and then thawed out and decomposed more as time went on. He was found on private land, and it was unknown if he was killed at the spot his body was found or he was killed elsewhere and then dumped there. The Barron County Sheriff's Department looked into missing person reports from the area, and none seemed to be a match for their John Doe. This is a clay model done of the John Doe. This is what they guessed him to look like, and modeled the clay sculpture with and without hair and with and without glasses, and took photos. They hoped the photos being spread around the area would help them discover his identity. It didn't, though. This John Doe wouldn't get his name back for 37 years. Chris Fitzgerald said, any major case like this, the evidence is basically kept forever in this case, unless we solve it, and then it's kept for so many years afterwards. So you know when I discuss John and Jane Doe cases and how they'll bury the remains somewhere under a tombstone that says something along the lines of unidentified person. And then after the person's identity is discovered, the family can decide where they want them buried, and some family members choose them to stay buried in their original spot. Well, this Doe wasn't buried. His skeletal remains stayed at the Barron County Sheriff's Department until he was officially identified. The Barron County Sheriff's Department eventually decided to start working with the DNA Doe Project to identify the man. We've discussed the DNA Doe Project many times on my channel, but if you're unfamiliar with them, they are a non-profit organization that uses genetic genealogy to help give John and Jane Does their name back. In December of 2019, the team members of the DNA Doe Project working on Barron County John Doe figured they had their work cut out for them. The first thing they needed to do was to obtain a solid DNA sample of the victim to put into the system. The genealogy website that the DNA Doe Project uses is called GEDmatch. They upload DNA samples from John and Jane Does and compare them to anyone who has uploaded their genealogy onto the site. They uploaded the Doe's DNA and hoped for the best. It would turn out to be the second Doe case solved in Wisconsin by the DNA Doe Project, and it would be their fastest identification of a victim that they ever had after uploading DNA into the system. According to forensic genealogist Jenny Lekes, it only took a matter of hours and they got a hit. There was a match to the victim's niece. Barron County John Doe was Kraig Patrick King. Kraig Patrick King was born on May 20th, 1961 to parents Paul and Judy King. He had 4 brothers, one who has passed away as well. He was from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, a suburb of St. Paul. His parents, who are still alive in today's time, truly have no idea how he could have ended up in Barron County, Wisconsin, an area over an hour-and-a-half drive east. Paul King is a retired physical education teacher and said, Kraig was so well liked. He was a hockey and golf athlete and an excellent student. He was very personable. He must have talked to the wrong people. When it comes to information about Kraig online, not a whole lot can be found. He was a 1979 graduate of White Bear Lake High School, and his parents still live in that area in today's time. When his parents were asked about what they know regarding the events leading up to his disappearance, they said they didn't know much, that he was an adult by then, of course, and was able to do as he pleased. But they knew he didn't have a car, and they know he had a couple $1,000s on him at the time. Other than that, other than these details, they also stated that Kraig had some mental health issues. Considering he possibly had a couple $1,000s on him when he went missing and nothing was found on him when they located the remains, that could have been a motive behind someone taking his life. We do not know that for certain, but that is what a lot of people guess. When it comes to him going missing, there was never a missing persons report filed for him. According to TwinCities.com, Chris Fitzgerald was quoted saying, "1982 was a long time ago. People did things differently back then. There's no right or wrong. Law enforcement was done differently in 1982 versus 1992 versus 2002. Hopefully now the family can have some closure." His parents have not talked in detail to any news sources, and of course that is their own choice. And you have to think that they only found out this year what actually happened to their son, and yes, they know his fate, but now they have a murder investigation to handle. His parents have been longtime members of St. Mary of the Lake Catholic Church, and their fellow church members have helped them through the recent grieving process. Right now, in the case of Kraig Patrick King, they are handling it as a homicide case and trying to find out what happened to him and who was responsible for taking his life. Chris Fitzgerald stated that after discovering Barron County John Doe's identity as Kraig, they have actually been receiving phone calls about his case. People coming forward all these years later with new information. If you have any information about the murder of Kraig Patrick King, you are urged to contact the Barron County Sheriff's Department at 715-537-3106. Remember that you can stay anonymous. I also have to mention really quickly that the Barron County Sheriff's Department and the DNA Doe Project worked together to solve a John Doe found in Barron County in December of 2017. He was identified this year in June as a man named Gary Albert Herbst, but they do not believe that, of course, with the years 1982 and 2017, that the cases are connected in any way. Now, as just a researcher into this case, I have a few thoughts when it comes to Kraig's case. The first is I definitely think robbery being the motive is a very possible theory. Apparently, he had about $2,000 on him, and in today's time, that is a little over $5,000. People have been killed over a lot less. I also think him having issues with his mental health. I'm not sure what kind of issues he had, but of course, mental health issues can make people do a lot of drastic things in life, and he may have ended up around the wrong people or in a bad situation because of these problems. There are so many questions when it comes to this case. How did he end up so far from home? Did he know someone in this area? He supposedly didn't have a car, so did he hitchhike? Was he killed near his area and then dumped there? Why did they choose this area? Why didn't they cover up the body in some way? They just kind of left him there. There's just so many questions. So all in all, that is the case of Barron County John Doe, better known as Kraig Patrick King. I know it wasn't a super long case, but it's one that I definitely wanted to cover nonetheless because he was identified during this year in 2020. Like I stated before, online, there's not a whole lot of information about this case or about his life in general, but maybe next year, within time, who knows, more information can come out. And if more information does come out about this case, or if they do eventually solve it, I would love to do a part 2. But until then, let me know your thoughts about the case down below in the comments. And of course, like always, down below in the comments, make sure to put a little bit of love for any family members of Kraig Patrick King who may stumble across this video. This is my last video before Christmas. If you are celebrating Christmas, I hope that you have an amazing holiday. I will have one more Doe video up for December before the year is out. Thank God 2020 is almost over with. All that being said, happy holidays, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys. Hi, I'm just going to squeeze back in before I end this video for good. I have a little bit of recommendation for my subscribers. If you like my content, you like what I do here on my channel, there's another YouTuber that you might like as well. She's a newer true crime YouTuber, and I have been obsessed with her channel lately. She doesn't know I'm giving her this shout out, so surprise. Her name is Sherrilyn Dale. She has these videos called True Crime Wine Wednesday, where she sits down, has a drink, and just chit chats about a true crime case, and they are absolutely so binge worthy. I will have her content linked down below in the description of this video. Go check it out, give her a follow, tell her that I sent you, and now I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.